Om.
Sarah Manti.
So
Last week we spoke about our duties, right?
We talked about the 4 caste system.
Systems, yes, the systems we are born in and the duties. So should we just review that a bit?
Yeah, of course.
Auntie, would you like to, I know you would do it justice to it by giving us a summary?
Yeah, just to show the text which you were showing last time. Show the text. Yeah. Chaturvarnyam. Anybody else wants to say, has got any opinion about this? Chaturvarnyam Swami has described it in very great detail, and he defends it, saying that it was the correct way of running the society. It was only a division of labor according to which the 4 groups were created in those days. So anybody else wants to say anything about it? Please go ahead.
One thing, Auntie, that's stands out to me is that we are not born into them, as we believed before, right? Just because you're born in that one system, that is not what it defines. So it's your gunas and how, basically your gunas. And also we also talked about how you can be defined in one at birth, and then throughout your life you can switch or you can change. That is also possible, right? So
Krishna first he divided the whole societies according to the guna, that is attributes, and moreover the work, karma. Guna karma vibhagashaha. That's what he says. According to the karma and according to the guna, those 4 groups were created by me. And Swami says it was the best way of dividing the society just for the convenient governance of the whole country. It was division of labor actually. Swami also says that, I think he says in Telugu, Shrama Vibhagamulo, division of labor. Bhakti Sahaja Jeevitamulo, it helps in an individual way to be peaceful in the society and for the smooth running of the society. That was what needed in those days. So Varna was the very breath, he says. And we know all the 3 gunas according to Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna. The whole people can be divided into groups. And we find it in the same thing in the West also. It's universal. It's universal division of labor. So here also in Western countries, though we don't call them as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, each one is a class, that is teachers, they belong, and then the business community, and then the Vaishya community, that is, and then those who belong to the able-bodied people took the job of defending the country. They were Kshatriyas. And for these 3 groups also, the 4th group used to provide them with whatever service they could do, they needed. So this is how these 4 varnas were created. And Swami is very, very positive about this division. He says, unfortunately, it has been misused and it has fallen into disgrace. So you can, any one of you can express your opinion about why Swami is defending this system so much. Any one of you can come out with.
So,
Yeah,
Sairam Aunty,
Sairam.
yeah, whatever you said is exactly correct. Nowadays, only one, so everybody wants to be a business group. So they forgot about all the varnas, whatever the originally it was created by the god thousands of years ago. But even the Brahmins, they don't want to do their duty, the three pujas and everything. They all wanted to be in the business community. So the vice versa. So the motivation is the money. So if their motivation is money, mean the desire is more. If the desire is more, mean that anger is more. So there won't be any peace. Those days, if you're born in Brahmin's family, you have to marry in Brahmin community, and you have to do the Brahmin work only. If you are in Satriya, your duty is only to protect the country. Now, everyone wants to be only making money, that is vice versa, that business community, it could be anything now. So because of that, you can see in the world now, there's no peace. That is my opinion. Thank you, Sairam.
Yes, yes. Vijaya, what do you want to say?
Aunty Mani, and I hear Brother Tavisan, it's, you asked a question. It's a brilliant question. Why is Swami advocating for this, the caste system in a particular way? And my sense is, we are in the Kali Yuga. It's going, whatever truth saying we have, it's going to be misused or misunderstood and totally ignorant, all of us, Swami said we all have the ignorant, all the evil tendencies and all of us. So when you ask the question, why is Swami knows all this? He knows we will be, it will be abuse. That's the nature of the Kali Yuga, right? So for those of us who really want to understand the truth, and he said he's here, Swami was taken birth, and Krishna is in the Krishna avatar or Rama avatar. It's because of the balance of the people, the good people crying out for him to show us a path, and also the evil tendencies in all of us. So my sense is, we have to understand actually why Swami is doing it for us. The ones that, can understand it, or have a reawakening of the understanding, how can we put it in a more of an understanding, compassionate understanding of what the real use is? Not everybody is going to understand this. Sairam, thank you.
Sairam.
Yes, Sairam.
Sairam Anandi.
Sairam, the Swami beautifully said it in the last two sentences at the third paragraph. As a result of this system, a division of service is brought about. Yeah, the individual leads a happy, harmonious social life without any grief or fear. This Varna system, even though we say Varna system, caste system, it's, as already Maniandi said, it's really a division of service. Without division of service, even a single or simple organization cannot survive. Then how can it be a universe or the country can survive without a division of service? We all maybe misinterpreted the caste system or Varna system. Swami really meant by this is a division of service that is mandatory for a healthy environment to function with its all ability. That's the reason Swami, Swami promoted the division of service in a different terminology. It could be a Varna system or the caste system. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, you're correct, Anandi. Moreover, the advantage of having a caste Varna system was, the aptitude and the skill of a person, it can be easily transferred to the next generation in a family. For example, a weaver can teach them how the art of weaving to his children very easily because they're grown up in that atmosphere. And for a jeweler, for example, he does such intricate work on golden ornaments or say silver things. When those skills can be passed on to their children very easily. That's what I feel Swami is trying to tell us, that each family has got a skill, that skill can be transferred to the next generation very easily, so that they can excel in the work what they are trying to do. And that's what I feel. And Swami, later on also in the following paragraphs also, Swami comes out and then promotes, no, it was a good system, but it has been misused. That's what Swami is saying. I think, Narmada, if there is nobody to comment, we can go to the next.
I think last time, were we going paragraph by paragraph? I think we finished the first paragraph.
Yeah,
We kind of did the second one too, I think.
yeah, Sattva Guna,
Yeah.
the Brahma, Tattvam.
Okay, so do you want to go to the next whole slide? Okay.
If you have any questions, Kalyani?
No.
In detail, Swami is dividing how Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras were supposed to do their job.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll read this slide then.
Yeah.
Okay. The people of Bharat are indeed blessed, since they look upon every act as but the execution of his order and as leading to his grace. This point has to be reflected upon. It is an important issue. The divine command is now in great danger of being set at naught. If the rulers change the face of this Varna system, the world will not have the welfare they strive for. Many people argue and teach that Bharat came to this sorry condition only because of this Varna system. But these folk have to sit quiet for some little time and ponder over the question. Has the country survived as a result of this system, or has it come to this sorry condition because of the system has weakened? Then on the basis of their conclusion, they can advise the discarding of their Varnas. When people find fault with the Varna organization, without such impartial investigation, their opinion cannot be valued. Of course, it is a fact that the system has veered from the proper path and taken to moving in wrong directions. This has been noted by many great men, but that cannot be sufficient reason to throw it overboard. For the reason that the leg is doing the work of the hand, and that head is performing the function of the feet, it is not advisable to cut off hands and feet. Attempts have to be made to set things right, rather than destroying the very system itself. The Varna system is not the cause of all this confusion and unrest. The fault lies more in the haphazard manner in which it has developed. It became a plaything in the hands of all types of people. So it lost its original symmetry and harmony. This system is essential not merely for Bharat, but even for the world. In countries outside India, this system is not absent. The name may be different, the working in the same. There are 4 classes. The
Shikshaka Varga,
teachers, the Rakshaka Varga, kings, Rakshaka Varga, kings, the Vanig Varga, businessmen, and the Shramika Varga, servants. But in Bharat, the Vargas are decided by birth. In the other parts of the world, they are decided by karma, the work each is engaged in. That is the distinction. Now, among the Brahmins who have been honored by being established in the very first cadre, or can be found who have left off the path and strayed into mean ways, So too, in the fourth Varna, the Sudras, many can be found who are moved by holy ideals, high spiritual aspirations, and who are striving to attain purity of mind as a means of realization. Just because these things are possible, it is not proper to conclude that the Varna organization of human society is useless.
Yeah. Swami is clearly coming out saying that the worst part is, the execution of this order, Swami, what he has given, he is taking a wrong turn. The divine command is now in a great danger of being set at naught. So we have realized it, but we are not unable to correct the system now. So it is in the hands of the government, the rulers and the Pandit, the people who can sit and quite come out with a proper way of dividing the society and how to overcome the defects of this Varna system, and which it has taken a very ugly turn. So that's what Swami is trying to say, and others can. Narmada, it is Shikshaka means a teacher.
Teacher.
Rakshaka, not Rakshaka will be Rakshaka. No, Rakshaka is the one who protects. Raksha. Raksha is the protector. So this king. Yeah. Okay.
So Auntie, I do have a question. So maybe I didn't understand this properly. So Swami is also saying that this Varna system is existing in the Western world. That's where he's talking about the teachers and the servants and all. So in India also it's there. The only difference in India and the Western world is that India, you are divided by birth, or you were in the Varna system. As you said, there's a reason as to it.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Are we concluding that the Western system is same as the Eastern, or is Swami saying that we should go back to our olden ways? So that's where I'm a bit confused.
The other day, Anandi's sister was saying the same thing. It's universal. The society has to be divided according to the profession or the jobs what they do. According to that, the society is divided. It's not necessary that they should. It is the same way how in India what we have, but as you say, there's the difference. Only difference is it is the birthright. We say that it's wrong. It can be a Brahmin can be doing a very a sinful act, and he can be like a Shudra. And a Shudra, we have got so many examples in our history. Kabir, Ramdas, and all those people who were born in a very low caste, but they excelled themselves in the Bhakti Marga, and they reached even better than a Brahmin. So we come across such examples. So it is universal. We need not have to change. We need not have to change according to that. Yeah.
Sairam. All the offices running all over the world, same pattern. The same way this one also, I guess. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to say something?
Saira Manianti. I come from Singapore. Okay. And I know many countries have this, but they stratify children at the age of 8, 9 years old, and they have all these tests and they streamline them. You go to you will be going into the higher grade and gifted stream, or you'll go into a worker, because Singapore is a small country and they need the workers. So according to the country, they will stratify children, stream them into different streams that they have to go to of education from very, very young age. I felt it was very young because I had a son, an older son, Ajay. He was a dreamer, and you can see, the child is intelligent, but just won't pass up his homework because he forgot. And there are children like that, especially, you know, more boys than girls. And I left Singapore and I took a stand to have this education on my other two children in the States. And it flourished them, you know, when Swami is talking about the guna and the karma, and but you also need time before you don't know where the urges and what the attributes of the child are. And especially as parents and mothers, especially, you know, we're very concerned how the child is going to develop. So now he's an attorney. He runs the show in his home, everybody's home. He can tell you what to do, and you know, he's just brilliant. But when he was young, it was not apparent to most people except maybe his mother. You know, he got into terrible troubles, you know. So my sense is, and it's not wrong for them, but to start the streaming very early to find out what the child is interested, like you say, in Western countries or even in India, it's how do we decide, what age do we decide whether the child is you know, suitable for trade or for college or for, you know, whatever the musical abilities they have. In some cases you can tell, but if the child is a late developer, Swami's advocate here is that, you know, you've got to watch and see what the child is. But if the country's education system doesn't allow it, it's not that you can change, you know, from going into a trade. And also the effect on the child, the low self-esteem and I'm not good enough, and all that is inbuilt in a system of elitism. Sairam, thank you. I have no answer for this. Thank you.
Sairam's sister, my husband is also from Singapore, and his parents left Singapore when he was 13 because of the same reason. So it's interesting what you mentioned.
Sairam, I also really like Sister Narmada's question. Swami also asked, has the country survived as a result of the system, or has it come to this sorry condition because of the system has weakened? The Swami would have all these discourses, I believe, in 70 or 80, but still in India it has really developed and they developed and achieved so many things during the past 20 or 30 years, but unfortunately they are unable to bring into a good condition of this caste system. I know still they have a lot of problems with the caste system or the Varna system, and the people are really suffering. When I hear the news from India or from even some documentaries, the movies, and these Sister Narmada's question, where the Swami is telling that go back to the original system, or whether this system has weakened because of the less restrictions about the caste system. That's what I believe Narmada's question. Is it Narmada?
Yeah, and I think more and more we discuss, Auntie, and I look at it, I think my understanding may be wrong. I think it has been misinterpreted. Yes. The olden way has been misinterpreted, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Whether it's defined by birth or now in the Western system because we are evolving, things changed. But I think it is what he's trying to say, I understand, is that, it is your guna and how you do it. And then when you kind of put yourself in that pocket, then do your own duty to the best of your ability. Do the duty correctly. I think that's where we're coming down to, right? Like every system, every field has its own dharma, and you have to follow that in the right way.
And also, Mani Aunty also said that for generation by generation, if you do one particular job, you really specialize even in your DNA or gene, it would be in there. For those people, they are, the chanting the Vedas, or these some any kind of goldsmith, or the blacksmith, they really specialize. Even their children, they would got that sort of specialized. They will easily grasp all those techniques and those things. That is also a beautiful point Mani Aunty brought in. Sometimes some of the techniques or arts we are missing, because the people change their profession, and those the really good techniques and cultures are disappearing these days.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Brother Dominic, you have your hands up.
Yeah, I can't see him. Please go ahead.
Sairam, everyone.
Sairam.
Very good conversation. There are a couple of issues I'd like to raise. First of all, when we talk about the East and the West, we have a tendency to overgeneralize. There is no Western culture. There is no Eastern culture. There are tendencies, and there's a whole segmentation or different strata within each one of those so-called Western or Eastern culture. Very often as American, when we refer to Western culture, we very much think about the Anglo-Saxon based culture that's been prevalent in the US, which is mostly based on money, the creation of money and wealth. That has been the main focus. And it seems to have been an attraction for many people coming over here, willingly coming over here. I'm not talking about refugees. As far as the West, even if you look at Western Europe, the whole of Europe is broken down into many different pieces. You have Western Europe, of which England is somewhat separate because they have a different mindset. The level of education is very different. It's a lot more based on human values on the Western Europe, and I'm excluding the Anglo-Saxon trade there because they have a very different mindset. And then we have the Central Europe, and then you have Eastern Europe. People have very different mindsets. As a matter of fact, we're talking about Vedic knowledge. I've been a chanter, for 10 plus years, and there is a group in Europe that actually has revived the Vedic knowledge and the Vedic chanting to a great extent. Way before in the US it became a piece of conversation. And same thing in the East. The East is divided in many different strata. Even India, you have North and South India. Southern India believes that the chanting from the South is the real chanting, the real quality that has not changed over the years. Well, they speak about Northern India. They smile saying, well, they have a different way of chanting, but it's not the real way of chanting. So that's one part I wanted to make sure we understood, that we cannot generalize, because when we generalize, we're losing the distinction of what really is happening. The other part that came across in the conversation here is, I think that perhaps one of the reasons that caste system is not being respected, or that organizational system is not being respected, is because in our society, and I would say in this case in the US, because I live here now, so I see how things are working, there's a culture of the individual. It is the me society. It's not a society that's based on the welfare of humanity or the welfare of your brother and sister. It's based upon me, what's in it for me. And then I think to some extent, this is why we have an overweight now on the culture of the individual, where they're missing the forest for the tree. Because in reality, when you look at Swami's teachings, they have not changed. They have always been the same. And they're in total, it's a total representation of the Vedas. When you're studying the Vedas, it's the same thing. So over the life of humanity, as far as we know it, historically, there has been no change. There's always been those battle between the evil tendencies and the Satya tendencies. And so I think that we would do well into respecting the individual skills, but at the same time, to not put the individual before the society, because the society, in the end, what is its purpose? You know, what is its mandate? If it's not in accordance with the Vedic structures, then it is going to be flawed and is going to err into war, because we have had war on this planet forever. So to some extent, I said that returning home, returning to the teachings, then we may be able to see that this caste system really has a great value. Sairam.
Thank you, Brother Dominic. So you brought out a good point saying that, people have become selfish, more selfish. That is the reason why our society is going through a lot of this chaos now. And the question Narmada was asking, has the country survived as a result of this system, or it has come to this sorry situation because of it has weakened? That question has to be addressed. And now it is in the hands of the people who are ruling, who are at the helm of affairs. So they should come out with a proper system so that, everybody in the name of the society, in the welfare of the society, everyone gets involved in it and then leave off the selfish selfish ends. That's why I feel. Thank you. Anybody else? Kalyani, you have any questions? Sorry.
Sairam Aunty, what I see is Varna system is there. That is God created for a reason, for welfare of the world. But how we have taken up is the mistake. What we understood, how we are practicing is the weakening point. But Swami says in India, they are doing the Varnas based on the birth, and other part of the world decided by their karmas.
Yes.
So because that's the way Bharat is practicing, that doesn't mean it's coming by birth. Swami says that's the way now they are practicing.
Yeah.
So still, Swami's initial point is Varna systems are based on gunas. That is what is the basic for the Varna system.
Varna system.
So that's what my understanding from Swami.
Yes, exactly, Aruna. That's correct. So, Kalyani, you have any question?
I think Dasan uncle is saying something.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I can't see.
Okay, Sairam, Auntie, Sairam. So if we take that God created only for Varnas only, the important for Varnas, only rest of the things all created by the people. If we take Brahmins caste, their main duty is educate the people Brahma Tattva, the purpose of the life, because they are sattvic nature. Sattvic nature means they are food and they are Brahmins community, such a way they behave all sattvic. So they are the people responsible to educate that all people in the purpose of the life. So if they are not doing that one, it's very difficult other Varnas people coming to that level and taking over that one. So then we can explain all other three Varnas too, because of the time limitation. So this is my understanding too. Thank you, Sairam.
Yes, Brother Dasan. Yes, you are correct. But we can't dictate anyone to do the Brahmins.
That's right.
We cannot dictate terms on any one community. It is up to them to follow what they have supposed to do.
Exactly. Sairam. Thank you, Sairam.
Yeah, if there is no question, we can move on to the next one, I think. Or should we wait for people to come out with? It's a big controversial question, which we are trying to discuss it here.
But Auntie, as I just wanted to bring one more point clearly here. It's, the based on birth, is not right. That's what Swami is trying to tell. Yeah,
yes,
from the since the
exactly.
beginning. So here's little bit of confusion come even like a but. Swami says, but in Bharat, the Varnas are going by birth. That is how they have taken up, but it's not right.
It is not right. Swami's opinion is, Swami's opinion is exactly that. In India, people are taking by birth only he can be, but that is not the correct way. That's not the correct way. But according to the Gunakarma Vibhaga, when he says, according to their attributes and their skills and their aptitudes, if they are divided in, that helps the society to move on. Sairam.
Sairam, Brother Dasan brought an excellent point on that. According to the Varna system, actually the whoever the Brahmanas, they have to learn those things and they have to educate the other people. Because of the collapse of the system, because in order to educate the other people, and the other people really, they have to support them to live a good life. We also miss that part. That's why, even those people, they look for different profession and the different job. Then we cannot really blame them. And because they didn't do their job, that's why we are unable to learn those things. That's why I believe Swami realized, and Swami brought all those teachings in a capsule form, and he wanted to teach us. Even Swami started Veda chanting to all the people, because Swami realized that not with the caste system or anything, anybody willing to learn, and if they follow the certain rules and the regulations, and they can they chant Veda, and Brother Dominic also beautifully said that it's not really if someone born on that particular Varna, they can do those. Even other people, they are really willing, and they can learn, and they can do any other profession they really wanted to. I also really impressed by Brother Dominic point on that one. Thank you, Saira.
And one more point, what I would like to bring about is, see, in Mahabharata times, way back in years. So this system Krishna gave to the society for the smooth running of the society. So over the years, it has taken several changes. We have, and the world has evolved. Now in the present system, so what Swami is trying to tell us is, stick to that Varna system, so that not by birth you are a Brahmin, but you do good things, you are a Brahmin. You're chanting the Sattvic Guna, you're manifesting, you are a Brahmin. If you're doing some tamasic work, then you're a Shudra. So that's how Swami wants us to understand this Varna system in this way. Not by birth, but only by aptitude, by their skills, by their karmas. Then we can have this system of caste. I feel.
Thank you, Auntie. I think that's how Swami has, we can explain that the Brahmins equal teachers, right? Shikshara and Rakshkara is, all the kings are the Kshatriyas, and businessmen are Vaishya, and servants or other is Sudra. So you can actually equate that, right? So you don't have to be defined by birth, as you said.
Vanijya Varga, that's called Vanijya Varga. Vanijya Varga is the businessman. Okay.
Auntie, what does Varga mean again?
Varga means a group, beta.
Group, okay.
Group.
I guess just one point, because Swami is saying in that sentence, but in Bharat, the Vargas are decided by birth. And then at the very first paragraph, the first sentence, Swami says the people of Bharat are indeed blessed, since they look upon every act as but the execution of his order and as leading to his grace.
Yeah, that is.
So I just thought that was interesting, because if we think that every act, everything that happens is based because it's God's will, and if we believe in the karma system, and that we are born into a certain place because of our past karmas, then even if we take it to mean that the Varuna system is by birth, then that is also acceptable, because we are born in this because that's the best way for us, this particular soul, to reach God.
Yes.
So in that way also it seems to make sense, even if we take it in the sense that it is by birth. And also because we have, in Swami saying in Bharat, there's the idea that every act leads to his grace. So if every act we can do is like karma yoga, like renouncing the fruits and just doing the act as an offering, then it doesn't matter. The karma itself doesn't matter. So what job you do, what karma you do should not make a difference. It can all help to purify our mind. And so if we shouldn't even feel the need to change our job, or we don't need to go into a different caste, or we can attain the highest just by doing where we are, what we are placed in. We can just do that job.
Yeah, very beautiful point, Kalyani, which you have brought out. It is the execution of the God's will. If we take it in that way, it's an offering to God. It is samarpana to God. It is His grace that we are born into a particular group of people, and then we are given an opportunity to exhaust our all past impressions, so that we can purify our hearts, and we can reach the goal. So that is how, if we can take it like that, then there will not be a lot of problem like this. I feel so. Thank you, Kalyani. Okay, I think.
So, I wanted to understand a little more from Kalyani. So, what you're saying is the birth, Bharat Swami said about the Bharat Vargas are decided by birth. And he's saying at the same time, their act and execution is leading towards the grace, right? So, maybe they are doing their karmas in Bharat, in their Vargas. Maybe it's the right thing for the Bharat to do. That's how you are reading it?
People of Bharat,
because you are connecting that last sentence and the first sentence. Yeah. So that's mean for a Bharat, it's okay for by birth, because that also because that karma will lead them. But it's not like Swami says that you cannot move, but but they are in that caste and they are doing that work that will take closer to God, because that's allowed them to learn that karmas, like how to do those jobs. But it's not like you cannot move, kind of. But other part of the world is varnasa based on the karma. So only Bharat, the Swami is dividing, it's as but he's saying in India it's like birth.
No, Aruna. In India, whoever is born in a particular community,
yes,
or particular caste, it is his vasanas which bring him.
It's his will. Yeah,
his impressions of the past janma, past birth, puts him into a particular family, so that all those attempts which he has done, which she or he has done in the past, it will not go as a waste. It will. He is in such a position now. He is in such a situation now. He can improve upon himself.
Yes,
he can improve upon himself what he has done so far. On that basis, he can build up, and then he can evolve better. That is how we take it.
Yeah,
like, we are all born.
Yeah. So we have to respect everyone. Like a respect is the part that varnas are, it's given for us for our welfare of the humanity and world. Yeah. And we have to respect the way we are looking at the varnas, only making the difference. Like it's the way we look at it. but it's a betterment for humanity that Varnas has given. That's how we have to look at it for Bharat. Thanks.
Even every act, what we do in the first sentence, what she is saying is, it is the execution of his order. It is his command. His command we are executing. If we can take it that way and we can offer it to God, Samarpana, that is our offering to God is, it will take us, it will lead us to his grace. That's what we believe in. But in other parts of the world, I don't know whether they have got this kind of Samarpana Bhava, that kind of offering to God. I don't think, maybe there may be, I don't say no, but mostly it is taken for in our community, in our India, among Indian people, that whatever we do, it is God's will. And we believe that God's grace will also come to us. Saira. Okay.
Even though we say according to Varna or caste, according to our past karma, we will we are born in a certain capital situation. Maybe I could be born in a very rich family and very according to the caste system, very high caste system. According to my karma, I also can born in a very poor, underprivileged setup, and that is also according to my karma. And maybe in the God maybe thought that I have to evolve from that level to up and up in order to merge with the God. That's the point I believe Sister Kalyani brought in, because maybe that is the way I have to develop my soul to move up in the spiritual ladder. Maybe that may be the reason, even though in Bharat they put the caste system and everything, because only the birth is not within our birth and death are beyond our control. And that is maybe the karma plays a lot of role in that birth. We cannot decide. Even all of us, we want to be born in a very good setup, but that's beyond our control. Our past karma plays a lot of role in that one. Maybe that's why Sister Kalyani beautifully said that maybe because of our the past karma, we will born in a setup and evolve from there, step by step. Thank you, Saira.
And in the conclusion, the last paragraph, Swami is beautifully saying that, so see, the high spiritual aspirations and high ideals who are striving to attain purity of mind as a means of realization. See, this, just because these things are possible, it is not proper to conclude that the Varna organization of the human society is useless. Swami is coming out and recommending to all of us, saying that don't say that because of the Varna system, it is useless. It is pulling the whole society downwards. It's not correct. If we can understand and we can say, and we can take those high spiritual aspirations to reach God, and if we can use this system as a means to reach that goal, that's the best thing which we can do. That's what I feel. Okay, I think we have chapter 9 now.
Though purity of mind is the primary thing for the protection of society and the individual in the realm of the divine, Varna organization too is very important. It can never be blown off by ridicule, criticism, or condemnation. For welfare is essential for all, so rulers and scholars must give up feelings of anger and hatred and calmly delve into the pros and cons and bring the organization into some good order. That is the thing to do. It is not proper that wise men, intelligent scholars, should support the meaningless criticisms of the envious and ignorant. Those who deny caste are themselves forming a caste. Those who deny religion are themselves forming a new religion. Even those who know much become prejudiced against Varna and talk as if they are as ignorant as the rest. That is the wonder. Every object has certain limits. If it exceeds in limits or breaks through them, it gets destroyed. What is the test of this identity? The coordination between its nature and its form. If it has the form but not the nature, then it is unreal, false. So too, if each class has no special limits, how can it be identified as a class? It will be neither this nor that, an amorphous mass, a confused group. This is a divinely decided organization. So it was fostered and continued by great sages, saints, and elders for many generations. But in this iron age of Kali, the brainiest dismiss it as useless junk. Without deep inquiry, without discrimination, if people look at this organization from the external, the individual standpoint, how can they arrive at right conclusions? Its sanctity and value will be revealed if you have the inner sight and the universal outlook and the inquiring spirit. Just as the butter latent in milk is made patent by the process of churning, so too the specific value of the four varnas will become manifest only through the process of discriminating inquiry. Then prejudices will perish, a reality will be revealed.
So Swami is again saying that Varna organization is very important for the society. Those people who condemn it, who criticize it, just because they are prejudiced against it. That's why they are doing this. To bring good order in the society, it is very necessary. Swami is again recommending intelligent scholars and people should sit, wise men should sit and then find out a solution for this caste system which has gone into in a wrong way. I think but those who exceed the limits, for everything there is a limit. So what we are doing now, we are exceeding the limit, we are going right through, and then there is no coordination between our nature and so the group to which we are we belong. So that is why this confused group has come up. I feel this is the essence of the first two paragraphs which we just now read. Anybody else can give a summary of it?
The first paragraph, sorry.
Go ahead. I just didn't understand the first two lines of the second paragraph.
Okay. Every object has certain limits. If it exceeds the limits of or breaks through them, it gets destroyed. What is the test of its identity? You know what Swami is trying, I understand this way. See, each group, each caste has got a limit. When they break through those limits, then there is confusion. The first sentence says that like that. The coordination between its nature and its form. What is the nature of a group of people? And what's the nature of the form which they belong to? If there is no coordination, then it is unreal, it is false. Can anybody give an example for this? Shivani, are you asking the question?
Yeah, I ask. So that's I understood when you said if it's
Yeah,
exceeds the limit.
can you? I think we can come out with some example if anybody can think about that. The nature and the form.
Yes, Sister Vijaya.
Yeah.
This may be such a bad example, but you know, for a very long time in India, the different castes couldn't marry each other.
Yeah.
Right? If a Brahmin boy, you know, is looking at wants to take a Sudra, a lady from a girl from the Sudra class, you know, it was frowned upon. In fact, it would
they would excommunicate.
Yeah, they're ostracized. And so some cases, the honor killings also, you know, would take
even
on.
Even now.
Yes. And so what is Swami saying then? Their children are it's now more agreeable for this intercaste marriages to take place. But if it has a form but not the nature, then it is unreal, false. So too, if each class has no special limits, how can it be identified as a class? So whether it's the race or you have, you know, teachers wanting to marry into a business class, yeah, I'm just, you know, it's like, this is actually, you know, it's a very good question. You know, what does it mean? I mean, when Sister Shivani is saying, you know, what is the limit? Is the product, the progeny, the limit, you know, they're neither here nor there. Isn't that what we want, the interblending?
I feel, Vijay, you should not go to the marriage question now. First, no, don't go there. Okay. I feel as a Brahmin group or as a Kshatriya group or as a Shudra group, what are their limits? What is the nature of their duties? I think we should limit our discussion only to that thing. And then we'll go to the next marriage question.
Auntie, I don't know. I think, I mean, things can be interpreted differently, right? But the way I look at it is like where Mani Auntie just mentioned, right? Swami's talking about the dharmas or the duties that are defined for that duty, right? So if, let's say, if you're teachers, what is the dharma duty of the teacher? And those stay within that limits when you're doing that.
Yeah.
Your own duty, I guess that's where it is coming to. And I think what Vijaya, sister, you mentioned is what we are trying to avoid. And I think that is where Swami is saying how we misinterpreted the things. You know, yes, that's where the misunderstanding came and how it got messed up, lack of a better word.
Exactly.
If you stick to a duty, I think that's the original.
Nature here, it is nature and its form is belong to that group of what dharma that group has to follow. What are the rules that it has to follow? There, I think we should limit ourselves there. Then comes the question of getting the intercaste marriages and all those things. So let us, each class has no special limits, but how can it be, if each class has no special limits, how can it be identified as a class?
Sai Ram. This is Sapu Auntie.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, the 4 Varnas. Take for an example, the Brahmins.
Yeah.
They have to be more, they are more educated, and they have to educate themselves, and they have to educate the society. That is their expected nature. That is the important fact that the Brahmins have to do. This is the way they are contributing to the society. So their nature is educating themselves and passing on to the society. Kshatriyas, they have to protect and they have to make sure the country is has been taken care of, protection part, and also they also have to be more vigilant about every act of theirs. So Varnas, the Vaishyas, without the finance, the country cannot survive. So that is their true nature. That is where they have to consider themselves and be part of improving the finance of the country. The servants, the Kshatriyas, Sutras, without them, there cannot be any nourishment to the country. The food items, everything comes from their labor. So this kind of nature and the formation is good for the prosperity of the country. At the same time, down the lane, people have become more aggressive regarding their varnas, and the Brahmins wouldn't allow the low caste people to come to the temple to pray to the God. We have so many saints who have come and they have risen up to the higher level. So these are the aggressive ways can make a disruption in the society. Thank you, Sairam.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Koji.
I do see Brother Sitaram's hands up, so.
Yeah, please.
Sairam. So
Sairam.
I would like to just add a couple of points here regarding the words used by Swami, right? So in the last paragraph, if you see here on this page, Swami is told, if you look at this from a very physical aspect, you will get the conclusions may not be right, but you will get the real meaning only when you start looking and having a deeper understanding of what each word is or each varna is. Like in the previous chapter, the end of the chapter, Swami was mentioning about Bharat, right? So though we discussed about the geographical Bharat, which is called India, I don't know, I've joined a little late. I'm not sure if it is already discussed, but Bharat, Swami has many times described Bharat as any person who's having rati for Bhagawan.
Yes,
Bhagavantuni andu rati kalavadu Bhagavantudu is what Swami tells very often. And anyone who has love for God is a Bharatiya. So with that inner meaning of Bharat, right? So every person, again, Purusha Sukta also mentions all four varnas.
Yes.
That head is Brahmana, whereas the chest is Kshatriya, the waist is Vaishyas, the feet are Shudras, right? So if we think a little deeper, in Purusha Sukta, the Vedas could have declared it as the entire society is divided into four varnas, but it is not said that. It is said the same body of Purusha is divided into four varnas, which
Yes.
means each of us is having each of these varnas. When we do certain work, we are belonging to that particular varna. And Swami also mentions in many of his discourses, and many students also, or many devotees also have had this experience, wherein Swami tells, are you a Brahmin? And the devotee tells, yes, Swami, I'm a Brahmin. And Swami immediately quotes, if you are a son of IAS officer, you're not an IAS officer. If you're a son of a doctor or a daughter of a doctor, you don't become a doctor automatically. You have to gain the eligibility to become that particular profession. In the same way, if you want to become a Brahmin, you should start thinking about Brahma Tattva, right? So when the person who thinks of Brahma Tattva is a true Brahmin, according to Swami. So each of these varnas that we are discussing at a very physical aspect, they would lead to controversial conclusions only. That is what Swami is trying to tell here, because you can never draw lines between each of these varnas, because they will obviously go into the other when it comes from physical aspect. But when you think a little deeper and get the inner inquiry of each of these words that Swami is doing, most important is Bharat, right? Every person who has love for God is a Bharatiya. So this particular teaching, if it is only for Bharat, then this book would have been only published in India. But we are all reading together. This one,
Yeah.
which means each of us is also belonging to that Bharat is Swami is speaking.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to add. Sairam.
Thank you, Brother Sitaram. Just now in the following paragraphs, Swami is exactly saying the Prashna Sukta Vakya, that Brahmanosya Mukamasid, Bahu, Rajanya Kritha. These are all different parts of a same body. That's what Swami is going to say in the following verses. Okay, thank you, Saira.
Sister Shivani and Sister Ananthi. So Sister Shivani, your hands up first.
Yeah, sister, you can go, Sister Ananthi.
Okay, thank you, Sister Swani. And when you look at every object has certain limits. If it exceeds the limits or breaks through them, it gets destroyed. I just thought about this example. Each country, it has its own, the land space, air space, and various, the limits. If that country, breaks through the limit, even the land space, air space, or any jurisdictional limits, then that country, it gets destroyed. Maybe recently we have so many good examples for this one, where the limits are, exceeded and breaks through, what would be the consequences. Even any country, they would be having this sort of the limits. Say for an example, even departmental side, every country, when they set the mandate for each function, they will put these are the duties, or these are the functionality for each department or each ministry. And if they cross that, the functionality even to the other ministry, the other ministry will really get upset, and either they would dissolve both ministries and form a new ministry, or some sort of, the consequence it will happen. So what is the test of its identity? Each country, they have their identity card. If we are Canadians, we have the identity card. It's like, we are Canadian, that is the social insurance card, identity card. So in the Varna system, or in this setup, what kind of identity test we are really having? Doing the same job as my parents or ancestors did, that is the test for my identity, or or a certain maybe a setup, maybe the country, or the community, they have made it. You can just do only this part. Even an organization, sometimes they would say, you are the bhajan group, you are the service group, you are the spiritual group. You just do your service within that jurisdiction. So what is the test of its identity? Who will form that test? The organization, or maybe it came through from another the entity, that sort of the test, or what kind of test we are really in this. Sister Shivani, she has nicely asked that question. When I look at that, who will be setting the test of its identity? The generation by generation, it comes through that identity, or maybe someone else, creating that identity to do the function for a limited period of time. It could be 1 year, or it could be just one life cycle, or maybe as long as I am in that position, just do the job. I can understand the next line, the coordination between its nature and its form. I can really connect the nature, but I'm unable to connect the form. What it really means, the coordination between its nature and its form to create an identity test. That's part, I'm still unclear with that part. Thank you, Saira.
It's a good question. I know Shivani also had a question. So sister, if you want to add, maybe we might find an answer there. Or
Yeah, it's just my understanding, just to add and share here, it's in like 2 layers. It starts with a story which we use in Bal Vikas when we said how the system works, that there was a sadhu who went in, I'm just cutting a story very short, who went into a village, and there was a devotee, a very nice boy, and he was praying why everybody cannot be equal. And that sadhu grant him a wish that, you know, just wish whatever you want. And that guy said, let everybody get whatever they want. And the next day there was a mess in the society. There was no cleaning. It was dirty. Things were not happy because everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to do certain job. So there was a mayhem in the society. So what I'm learning from last week discussion, and this is where we are, definitely the law of karma has to play. We have some attributes, some kind of character that we born with, and that's what we have to discover. That's what because the society works that way. And it reminded me, the second part is that what I'm understanding maybe is just the limits is, you know, if a businessman who learns all the Vedas, all the rituals, doesn't mean that businessman can go and perform a wedding ceremony, because there is a Pandit who is given that. So don't exceed your limits. You are a businessman, though you learn all those rituals and Vedas and chanting just for your own benefit, but do not, I mean, know who you are, but doesn't mean that you kind of, you know, you have that kind of nature, your identity is with that's what I am. Because it came, it reminds me of a situation. My in-laws are from Caribbean, and it was very hard for us to find a Pandit. So we have to carry a Pandit from here. But one of my uncle who was coming from India, he knows all the rituals and everything. And my sister-in-law said, oh, he can perform the wedding. I said, no, but that's not his identity. That's not, he's a businessman. He's running a business in India. He is very pious. He knows everything, but we need to find a Pandit. A Pandit has to do his job. So I'm just thinking that when we exceed our limits, that's how I am relating. Though we might gain those knowledge of, you know, doing everything, but there is a form, there's a nature, that's why you are there. I don't know if it makes sense, but that's how I'm relating.
I think, Shivani, I think you have answered your own question. That's a limit for everything.
Yeah, from the discussion, this is what, like when my brain is churning and I'm kind of relating, I said, now it makes sense that way.
If anybody has any other opinion about this particular, these 2 sentences, which are really a confusion for us, so if anyone wants to say something about it.
Right.
Yes, Brother Dominic.
Sairam, thank you. I would like to echo the words of Brother Sitaram, who actually made some very clear points, at least to me. And I kind of wanted to read this passage from Swami's discourse, where he said that while the Vedas, the Shrutis, and the codes of law, the Smriti, indicate so elaborately the causes that lead to the individual birth, life, and death in particular castes, religions, families, and sections, people who are unable to understand them lay down theories according to their own limited intelligence and derive satisfaction therefrom. What else is this but sheer ignorance? Or it may be egotist pride exhibiting that they know everything, for isn't egotism itself the progeny of ignorance? The conclusion is that caste, social status, family, and even religion are determined by quality or guna and karma. They are not amenable to human manipulation. The Vedas declare so. They posit that it has been so decided by the divine will. And this also echoes Sister Kalyani's earlier comment that, karma and your predisposition to reincarnation during this birth has been predetermined. And then you're going to be following, you're going to fall into a system of caste that is supposed to be your own, whether you understand it or not. It may become clear to you at a later time in life when you evolve. As Swami earlier said in that particular discourse, that it is propagated that the caste system has brought about disastrous distinctions, and the fault lies in misinterpretation of the word. Sarah.
Saira. So, in the second paragraph, Swami is saying, if each class has no special limits, how can it be identified as a class? It will be neither this nor that, an amorphous mass and a confused group. So this is a divinely decided organization. So this Varna system, Swami says, is the divinely organized system, rather divinely decided system. So, and it was used to be revered and respected by sages and saints in the past. So now this Kali Yuga, people are dismissing it as useless. That is Swami's opinion. And we are facing the consequences of such confusion now. So we should not take it at the exterior, superficial level. It has to go inside. And in the further verses, as I said, Swami comes out with the example of that Purusha Sukta.
Hello.
Says, hello.
Hi, Kunju.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Saku sister wants to talk?
No, I think she got a phone call, Auntie said.
Oh, okay. Anyway, as Brother Sitaram said, in the next paragraph, Swami is exactly saying the same thing, how these four castes came into existence in the following paragraph. I think, is it time for us to close it, or?
It's 4:15 or 16. We can read and then ponder for next week if you want.
Yeah, next week.
I think Brother Uncle Dawson is trying to say something.
Yeah.
Sairam, Uncle, yeah, you can go ahead.
Sairam. We are not able to hear you.
You can't hear me?
No, that's.
Yeah.
We are not
Can you
able
hear?
We can hear you. It is breaking up a little bit and it's a bit quiet. Maybe if you speak loudly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was listening to the discussion, very interesting. Please, I think if you want to refer to many of Swami's discourses, which Swami gave initially during the Gayatri Upadesha, or when Swami performed his Mahasapanaya. Swami says there are four pillars in how the world is designed. The first one is Janma. The second one is Karma. The third one is Dharma. And fourth one is Brahma. And we need to adhere to all these. The first one is Janma. So one is born in a particular Varna. Okay, then just because one is born, one does not naturally become, just the way Swami says, a human being, just because it's born in a human form, is not necessarily human. The same way, if you are born in a particular Varna, so the Janma gives you the first license to be part of a particular class. If you want to use it as word as class. Then Swami says that should be followed. The right karma. The actions also should become it should be consistent with the Janma. Then Swami says, then you will be able to follow the dharma. And if you follow the dharma, then you will attain some. So whichever varna you are born, you will succeed. But that is from a worldly perspective. Whatever the terms of, I think, Sister Sivan and I say, because you know the Vedas, you just cannot become a pandit and start doing everything. It can be for your own personal benefit, but you cannot reinvent yourself into something. Okay. But the thing is, in the spiritual field, everyone is given the license to learn. Learn and become better. Become better in whichever varna you are in. And I think Swami has very nicely defined the varna
Sairam, Uncle, sorry to interrupt you.
Here.
Are you able to like maybe try to bring the phone closer to you just so we can hear you, but it's very quiet.
I think it's Aruna.
It's Aruna Uncle, yes. I must be from the airport or something.
Oh, Aruna uncle.
Yes.
Okay. We are not able to
We
hear
can
you.
hear you, but it's breaking up. And I was not able to get the 4 pillars and the thing, but it was breaking up.
Yeah. Anyway, next week, he is coming next week.
Yeah,
For
Brother
circle.
Aruna has to repeat again.
Yeah, he can repeat it
That's
again.
awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe should we just pause here and
Yeah,
we should pause here. And especially those 2 lines, they need further explanation. That is, the coordination between its nature and its form. That sentence is also very much needed.
yeah. I think that was confusing everyone. And I
Yeah,
also,
everybody. Yeah, we can always do that again.
right.
I think that will be great if we take up that particular part for the
But
next
the
session.
part, yeah, if we can explain it further, that would be nice. We are all limited people. We cannot cross our limits, as it is said just now. Okay. Shall we close it, Kalyani?
sure. Oh, samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Sai Ram.
Sai
Sai Ram.
Sairam,
Thank you
Sairam,
so much, Sai Ram. Jai Sai Ram.
Sairam, Sairam.